गुड मॉर्निंग स्टूडेंट्स। आज डिस्कस करेंगे अनदर टॉपिक that is pollination. So what is pollination? It is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma is called pollination. Theophrastus, who is also called father of botany, Theophrastus has written on pollination in date form. Usually pollination is of two types, self-pollination and cross-pollination. First we will discuss self-pollination. What is self-pollination? It is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of either same flower or genetically similar flowers. Accordingly, self-pollination is of two types, orthogamy and zettanogamy. First one is orthogamy. Orthogamy, it is the type of self-pollination in which an intrasexual or perfect flower. Perfect flower means if a flower has both androecium and gynoecium, then flower is said to be perfect flower. So in this type, it is a type of self-pollination in which a perfect flower is pollinated by its own pollen grain. Orthogamy occurs by three methods: homogamy, or it is also called chasmogamy, cleistogamy, and bud pollination. The first one is homogamy. Homogamy, in this process, the transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of chasmogamous or open flowers. Chasmogamous flowers are also called open flowers. If homogamy or if orthogamy occurs in open flowers or chasmogamous flowers, then it is called homogamy. Example, Mirabilis jalapa. Mirabilis jalapa is commonly known as 4 o'clock plant. And the second one is cleistogamy. In this process, the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of cleistogamous or closed flowers. Cleistogamous flowers are also called closed flowers. Cleistogamy occurs late in the flowering season in some plants, Commelina bengalensis, Balsam oxalis, and Viola. And all these flowers, these plants therefore possesses both chasmogamous and cleistogamous flowers. So these plants have both open flowers and closed flowers. And this is the diagram of Commelina bengalensis, and this Commelina bengalensis has both closed flowers and open flowers. So these are the closed flowers and they are the open flowers. Closed flowers are underground and open flowers are air. And the third condition is called bud pollination. So in this type, the transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma usually occurs at bud condition. Example, pea, wheat, and rice. The second type of self-pollination is called zettanogamy. It is a type of pollination in which pollen grains of one flower are transferred to the stigma of another flower belonging to either the same plant or genetically similar plant. And it is genetically similar to self-pollination and functionally similar to cross-pollination, because zettanogamy requires some pollinating agents for transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma of either same or genetically similar flowers. These are the two different types of self-pollination. And what are the advantages of self-pollination? Self-pollination maintains the parental characters. It is used to maintain pure lines for hybridization experiments. The plant does not need to produce large number of pollen grains because it occurs in bisexual flowers. It ensures seed production. In the second video, we will discuss about cross-pollination.